So let's scroll up and add another menu, just like we have added file menu. We're going to add JMenu ops menu equals to new JMenu operations. I'm just adding some comments. I am planning on using operations as a submenu of file menu, so that's why I'm adding that comment. JMenuItem export equals to new JMenuItem export. Let me call it export menu item. And then we'll have import menu item. So we have created one menu called Ops menu. We have a couple of menu items. Now coming down the list, we will first of all add to the Ops menu import menu item. Then we'll also add export menu item. So we're adding menu items to submenu item. And then I'm adding some comments. Wherever you decide to add your submenu in the list is where it will going to appear. So if I want to add this menu called Ops menu right above the exit in the file menu, there's a file menu dot add. And then I add Ops menu. So adding submenu to a menu. So it will appear right underneath the second separator, but right above the exit menu. So if I now run my application and I go under File, notice that Operations appear with a little arrow to its right. And when you bring your mouse over, it gives you the other two options, import and export. Okay? Now, let's add one more item to the list. Let's scroll up to maybe the new menu item, new. Let's enclose it in another set of parentheses. And outside of that parentheses, let's create an object of new menu item action. Key event dot vk underscore n. So okay, let me create a subclass over here. My own little private class. A class within the method. Class within the class, class within the class. So right here, right above the main method, let me create this class, private class, menu item action, extends abstract action. Let me create constructor of menu item class, menu item action class, which takes 3 parameters because that's how I've set it up. Okay, hold on a second. Let me test this. Oh, cool. Awesome. So yeah, I mean, it's ready. This is what I did. I created a new private class called MenuItemAction. Instead of giving the text and the image icon directly to MenuItem, we created a class MenuItemAction as a child of action, abstract action class, which is a Java built-in class, which provides an implementation of action interface. So whenever you do action, any kind of action, the action perform method actually belongs to this guy. So we created a MenuItemAction as a child of abstract action, which forced us to overwrite action performed. At the same time, we wrote a constructor of this class in which we provided the text to abstract action, because abstract action is a parent to any kind of action, and menu item is the one that can take the action. So that became the text of the menu item. Small underscore icon is a built-in constant. So if basically what we're saying is the icon of this object should be this icon, and the mnemonic key of this item should be this mnemonic, whichever is getting passed. What is put value? Put value is a built-in function of this class which allows us to assign values to the local properties. So basically we're saying this value, this property, this constant should get this value, and this one should get that value. And I'm going to put that as a key value pair. In the action perform, I'm not doing anything, but if I want to perform an action when somebody press any key, I can actually do it over here. So for example, if I want to do J option pane dot show message dialog, so if I now run it and I do Alt Fn, I get this dialog box. So let me scroll up to where I started the action. So the first thing I need to do is I need to call from within the constructor a MenuItemAction and pass the 3 parameters over: the text, the icon, and the event. Okay? Everybody done with that change? Now down outside of the constructor, we create this private class, which is a class within a class. So it's an inner class. It's a private inner class. Means it cannot be accessed by anybody from outside. It can only be used within the class. Now, if I need to add the same capability to, let's say, open, so I will going to add new menu item action, open and close, and then I need to add my third parameter, which is, let's say, key event dot vk underscore o. Now comes a problem that when I run this, after adding this feature to open item, it doesn't matter if even if I click open, it still shows new file created. I only want new file created to be executed when somebody creates a new file. How will I going to differentiate between the open and the new buttons? Inside the action performed, we have this guy called E. E always keeps track of who performed the action. So if I write an if condition inside the body of action perform and say if E dot get source equals to the name of the object that I want to compare it against, which object am I looking for? I'm looking for this object called new menu item. If the name of the source equals to new menu item, only then I want to execute this. So when I run it after this change, open will not going to give you that dialog box. Only the new will going to give you that dialog box. So this is how you can differentiate between when to execute which event and who will going to fire which event. Now, else if the source is equals to open menu item, now what we're going to do next is we will going to bring about FileChooser. So what this does, FileChooser is a Java built-in class to bring you the File Browse dialog box. So what we're simply doing over here is we're asking the FileChooser object to be instantiated, and then we're using this object to open the dialog box for choosing the file. And then if it's a success or a failure, it will return a value back in R value, and then I can check to see if R value is cancel or if R value is okay. So now let's say if I say if R value equals to FileChooser dot approve option, that means somebody literally clicked OK, it's R val, then I would like to display, for example, a JOption message box saying opening file. So if you pick a file and click OK on it, it will say opening file. Now what can you do? You can easily tie this code to what you learn in the file handling chapter. So upon clicking, you can now trigger an event and open the file, bring the file over and display the content. How are you gonna display the file? And how are you gonna bring about the file? Let's have a look at that. Just brief code, I'm not gonna go in all the details. You can declare an object of file type, and you can ask this JFC object to get you whichever file was selected. And now let's display on the console a simple message of whichever file was selected, give me the absolute path. So I just simply commented out the show message dialog box of opening file. So now when I run this program and I go under FileOpen, it gives me a FileChooser. I can pick a file and click Open, and in the console it just gives me the full path of where that file is located. Okay. So if I want to open that file, I can give that absolute path to my file, and then I can do the file read operation, or I can do a file write operation, whatever. So right now when I'm running my project, but if I click File Open, it's opening this Documents folder. That's what it's defaulting to. If I go to my FileChooser class and ask it that I want you to open this path for me, now upon clicking File Open, it goes to the desktop. So it automatically goes to your home directory. Let's add a keyboard shortcut. Right now we have done Alt. Alt is not a keyboard shortcut. Alt is a way of you allowing a mnemonic to be associated with an item. A keyboard shortcut means Control X, Control W, you know, those kind of keyboard shortcuts. So let's add a keyboard shortcut to our exit item. So let's go back in the class itself. Inside the constructor of the class, so where I have added a mnemonic for the menu, exit menu, I would now like to add to the exit menu item dot set accelerator. Accelerator. Now accelerator takes a keystroke class static method called getKeystroke. What keystrokes I want to do? I want to do a key combination. One of the keys I want to do in my key combination will be a W key, and the other key combination is my control mask. So I want to be able to do Control W. So Control is my masking key, and the key event is my other key that I want to mask with Control. So now when I'm running my application, if I do Control W, that terminates the application. Okay? And also I want you to do this. Go under the File menu. You should now be able to see Control W added in your menu.